And lastly, for me, champ, in the world of comparisons that we live in right now, if you can, compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence "Bud" Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather. Money, Floyd Mayweather, and Terence "Bud" Crawford nearly turned a celebration after the fight into chaos. It unfolded live with cameras capturing every second just after Crawford's breathtaking triumph over Canelo Alvarez. Security rushed in as teams from both sides collided, and for a moment, it seemed like boxing's past and its future were about to clash in the same space. No hits were exchanged, but the electricity didn't require them. The icon from another era, Floyd Mayweather, faced off against a fighter many now hail as the top talent of this generation, Terence Crawford. It was one of those instances that makes you question, was this real hostility, or was Floyd provoking to stay relevant? Because the truth is, after Bud dominated Canelo, the boxing world responded, and a rising chorus feels Crawford's legacy may have already outshined Floyd's. And that feeling, that's where the raw tension originates.
You see all these fighters, they doing the shoulder roll, you see, I mean, yeah. And not knocking the guys that paved the way. And I want to come on record and say, I'm appreciative for guys like Sugar Ray Robinson and Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard. So many guys that paved the way for me. But there's only one Floyd Mayweather. These fighters are not better than me. You look at the numbers, they say, oh, Canelo may end up beating more world champions than Floyd Mayweather. Boy, he should, with almost, 80 and 90 fights, he should. I beat more world champions than any fighter in history. I'm 50-0, but half of my fights was world title fights.
Title fights. For years, Floyd Mayweather dominated boxing as the undisputed pound-for-pound king, boldly declaring himself TB, the greatest ever. He retired from the ring with a perfect 5-0-0 record, untarnished, unbroken, and never beaten, piling wins over legends like Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto, Canelo Alvarez, and Oscar de la Hoya. That legacy held him at the top for decades. But today, Terence Crawford has fully reshaped the story.
Thank you, GOAT, because you are the GOAT of this era. Terence "Bud" Crawford.
Respect belongs where it's deserved because in today's game, that crown rests with Terence Crawford. He's now a 3-division undisputed champion, still undefeated, and has ruled across 5 weight categories. And unlike Floyd Mayweather, often called out for handpicking opponents or fighting legends past their peak, Bud jumped straight into the fire. He didn't wait for the perfect moment or fading stars. He faced the very face of boxing, Canelo Alvarez, in his prime, and defeated him decisively.
Like, if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, then I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, yeah, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time. Oh, yes. That makes a difference.
Even Max Kellerman spoke it clearly. Floyd Mayweather chose carefully when and who he faced in the ring. Terence Crawford, by contrast, sought every test at every level, and that distinction makes all the difference.
Second half of the fight put an emphasis on the fact that Bud was in fact outboxing him in the first half of the fight. It is one of the biggest wins in boxing history. And now let Uncle Max gather around, children, and I will explain this. This is the situation, guys. No one has ever been a 4-division champion in boxing. Not a real one. Oh, Pacquiao won 8 and Oscar De La Hoya won 11 and this one won 15. No, I'm talking about Ring Magazine champ or lineal champ. You are the champion of that division.
Get them all.
Forever, the record was 3 by Henry Armstrong. Manny Pacquiao was the first dude to really win 4. Floyd gets credit for 4 for beating Canelo, but that wasn't at the junior middleweight limit. I don't count that. I don't count that. Terence Crawford just joined Manny Pacquiao as the only legit 4-division champion in the history of boxing. And he did.
On paper, the numbers are close and both resumes reach the pinnacle of the sport. But when it comes to facing real risk, That's where Terence Crawford sets himself apart. And that's precisely why the boxing world is alive with chatter. So the question now reverberates everywhere. Has Crawford finally eclipsed Floyd Mayweather?
He's better out of those two, Crawford or Mayweather.
I think Crawford is better, bigger. Like he's actually he moved in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter. Mayweather's really good too, though. You can knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because he's bigger. You know what I'm saying? And he would have kept him at bay. It would have been hard for Mayweather to counter, maybe. But Mayweather's definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, Mayweather has his era.
To understand why this debate is sparking so much fire, we have to revisit the Canelo fight. Before the match, the common belief was obvious. Crawford was thought too small to truly contend.
Your favorite, Canelo or Crawford?
Canelo. Canelo, yeah.
What do you think is the most significant part of that matchup in Canelo being Canelo versus Crawford?
That he's comfortable at 168. That he's been fighting there. He went and collected all the belts at that weight class. Crawford, of course, Crawford has a chance. He has a big chance, being one of the pound-for-pound fighters of the world. But it's just the advantage of being there first. You know what to expect in that weight class. Crawford's coming off a 154 fight that he fought last year. So I really don't consider him even a 154. He's been fighting at 147 for a while. He had that one fight at 154, and then he stopped fighting for a year again. So, of course he's probably been training, again, high-class fighter. But to be comfortable at 168, you're going to have to do some fights in there. And going in there fighting the undisputed champion, it's going to take a toll.
Stepping up 2 divisions to challenge a natural 168-pound force like Canelo Alvarez seemed reckless to many. Yet, Terence Crawford didn't just endure, he commanded. Crawford moved with finesse, jabbing, countering, and methodically tearing apart Canelo's strategy. Sure, Canelo landed brutal body shots, but they never changed the fight. By the 7th round, Crawford was exchanging blows toe-to-toe and winning crucial moments. By round 12, the unanimous decision from the judges left zero doubt. That triumph wasn't merely a declaration. It was history being written. Crawford became the first boxer ever to claim undisputed belts in 3 distinct weight classes.
Before the fight, the Crawford-Canelo fight, and you had a Cavs hat on. This time you've got a GOAT hat on. Is that how you're feeling? I know it says Muhammad Ali, but is that how you're feeling about Bud's performance, about his whole career?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that way, man. GOAT. Greatest of all time, man. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to his coaches. Not just me, Saul Red, Bernie, Chet, nutritionists. Everybody played a part.
Canelo said he's way better than Mayweather. What do you think to that?
Who, Terence?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of course he is.
In doing so, he achieved something Floyd Mayweather never dared, conquering a bigger champion at his true weight. That lies at the core of Floyd's jealousy. Floyd has always excelled at controlling the narrative, building his own empire, calling himself money, and endlessly showcasing his perfect record to the world.
20 fights, 150 fights, 300 fights. Did I not beat the most world champions?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And in the least amount of fights?
Yes, you did.
Who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were.
So it's basically saying that...
The greatest of all time.
Okay.
All right.
But now all attention is on Terence Crawford. Bud is hailed as the new pound-for-pound king. Experts are openly debating if he has eclipsed Floyd Mayweather, and fans note he achieved what Floyd never attempted. Floyd isn't happy. That's why he crashed the post-fight scene, why he's casting shade, questioning Crawford's legacy, and even teasing a possible clash. Floyd knows Bud's triumph over Canelo Alvarez has stolen the limelight, and he wants it back.
Feeling to be Chris Eubank's trainer, first of all?
It feels good, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been this trainer before, so...
Yeah, it's good.
It's a no-brainer.
Of course. Congratulations on the win. What's your first reactions to Crawford's victory? One of the greats of this era, right?
Oh, definitely that. You know that.
What do you want to see him do now?
What I want to do now?
What do you want to see Crawford do next?
He at this point now in his career where he could do whatever he wanted to do.
Who would you like to see him fight? Any names? Is there any names in particular you'd like to see?
It doesn't matter.
What about Canelo? Would you like to see him retire?
I don't. Canelo's not my responsibility.
Okay.
That's why many fans call it pure envy. Crawford wasn't chasing Floyd. He was lifting the entire sport. But Floyd can't stomach the idea that someone else now holds the torch. But here's the point. Terence Crawford doesn't need Floyd Mayweather. And this is something fans should understand. Floyd has a long history of boosting other fighters only when it benefits him. Crawford never aimed to challenge Floyd's legacy. He respected it. In fact, he even trained with Floyd once and called him an inspiration. Yet, instead of honoring Bud's historic victory over Canelo Alvarez, Floyd belittled it, claiming Canelo wasn't elite instead of giving Crawford credit. That's classic Floyd, always protecting his own spotlight. And it's not just Crawford. Look at what happened with Gervonta Tank Davis. Floyd promoted Tank, used his name for hype. But the moment Tank tried to carve his own path, Floyd cut him down and took back the spotlight. Same strategy every time. If a fighter threatens Floyd's position, he reshapes the story.
I thought Terence fought a virtuoso fight. Terence never let Canelo get into a rhythm. Terence never allowed Canelo to get anything going, and I didn't think he could do it for 12 rounds. I thought that the first 3 or 4 rounds were going to be difficult for Canelo for that reason, but Terence was able to do it for 12 rounds, and in the later part of the fight, he kind of pushed the fight more than I think people expected, which is the mark of a superstar, man.
For years, Floyd's declaration was sharp and unmistakable. I'm the pay-per-view king. I'm the sport's biggest attraction.
For the fighter of the decade, I'm the fighter of the last century, honestly. and it's a reason why I'm the best fighter of the last 100 years. The credentials show it. And I went out there and showed it. What's better than going out there, being world champion for what, 20 years? Box office, I got the record. Pay-per-view, I got the record. It's better to win 5 world titles than 4 at one particular time.
But here's the twist. Crawford is proving he can compete at that level. The Canelo fight wasn't just historic in the stats. It was a show-stopping spectacle. Netflix streamed it worldwide. The arena was packed, and millions tuned in, making it one of the most-watched bouts of the last 20 years.
Terence fought a virtuoso fight. Terence never let Canelo get into a rhythm. Terence never allowed Canelo to get anything going, and I didn't think he could do it for 12 rounds. I thought that the first 3 or 4 rounds were going to be difficult for Canelo for that reason, but Terence was able to do it for 12 rounds, and in the later part of the fight, he kind of pushed the fight more than I think people expected, which is the mark of a superstar, man.
Crawford has shown he's more than simply the pound-for-pound leader. He's the new king of the box office. He can pack arenas, generate huge pay-per-view audiences, and headline shows anywhere around the world.
Why were you so emotional afterward? Is it that you just realized everything that you achieved, the moment just hit you then?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's just, the history, behind the sport is just everything that, I trained for my whole life. It all was, coming out that one night. That was all paying off. You have a lot of people that, adopted this narrative that Terence Crawford can't sell, Terence Crawford is not marketable, and they push the narrative to the public, and that's all people write about. Oh, Terence Crawford can't do this, Terence Crawford can't do that. But anyone in Terence Crawford fights, you see a sold-out crowd, but they wasn't talking about that. They was talking about how, marketable I'm not, and that kind of was hurting my career because, You know, a lot of people was looking at me and said, oh yeah, they said he's not marketable. Or they said he's not, you know, don't have a personality, things like that, because I didn't want to do things their way. I didn't want to put on a show. I didn't want to disrespect my opponents when they wasn't disrespecting me.
Right.
I wasn't, you know, I'm not a guy that, you know, wear jewelry for no reason. You know, just the things that I didn't want to do that they wanted me to do. You know, they go out there and say, oh, well, they lost money on me. You know, it's just crazy though to see me headline, you know, not one of the largest attending fight in American history. In American history.
And that's precisely why Floyd is uneasy. Because Bud isn't just ruling inside the ring, he's taking charge outside it as well. So, why is Floyd suddenly teasing a live clash with Crawford? The reason is clay, money and relevance. Though retired, Floyd has never completely left the spotlight. He's taken exhibition bouts against YouTubers, kickboxers, and even MMA fighters, all to keep the cash flowing. But none of those fights carried true significance. They lacked legacy. A showdown with Crawford would be completely different. It would be the biggest exhibition ever. The narrative writes itself. The undefeated icon versus the undefeated king. Old school versus new school. The man claiming to be TBE against the fighter many now believe has overtaken him.
But I know how you is. You be sizing niggas up, bro. Keep it a stack. Did you in your head size up Floyd? Like, you know what I'm saying? If we was ever keep it real, boss, keep it real.
I'm never that type of guy. I think that's some grimy shit. Always been happy for him, been a fan of his, and I never imagined us fight. Yeah. I never looked at him like, man, I know I'll be this.
Boy, you capping, bro. I never thought like fantasy fight me versus Floyd, nah.
Never. I never just was with a person and looked at him like, man, I'll beat his ass. Never. That's some hating type shit to me.
Like plotting.
I ain't never been that type of person ever.
For Floyd, this is a golden chance to cash in and reclaim the spotlight. He's stirring the drama, and that's why he almost squared off with Crawford live. He's trying to lure Bud into one final massive payday. But here's the twist. Crawford isn't interested. Bud has always shown Floyd respect, calling him a legend and one of the all-time greats. Yet, he's never chased a fight with him, and for good reason. Facing Floyd wouldn't elevate Crawford's legacy. Floyd is 48, far beyond his prime, and hasn't competed at the top level in almost 10 years. If Bud wins, critics will shrug, claiming Floyd was past it. If Floyd somehow wins, people would write it off as luck. Either way, it changes nothing for Crawford.
You gotta have 4 arms.
I know.
And 6 eyes to beat Floyd.
Is Floyd better than you? Keyshawn beat Tank?
Keyshawn beat everybody. Him and Shakur.
How you feel about them not fighting each other? That's cool?
Yeah, that's cool. They don't need to fight each other.
Was there anybody ever...
They can beat up everybody else.
Was there anybody ever like that in boxing with you? Because not really Sean Porter, right?
No.
No friends in this business for you.
I think Tim Bradley would have been like that.
Okay.
I think me and Tim Bradley would have been like that. I wouldn't have fought Tim.
If the opportunity presented itself against Floyd, you would have, though, even though you admire him so much and he's so great. But you
Floyd, yeah, because I wasn't as close. Me and Floyd close now, but when Floyd was boxing, I wasn't as close with Floyd like I am now.
How do you beat Floyd, though? Like, since nobody's been able to crack that code.
You think I would tell you?
He ain't fighting anymore. So that fight ain't gonna happen.
You gotta have 4 arms.
I know.
And 6 eyes to beat Floyd.
Is Floyd better than you?
I think you got your answer there.
Nah, I didn't hear nothing. Is Floyd better than you? Some fighters say, even like Gervonta Davis.
Beat your ass?
Okay, that's a no. That's a no.
That's why Bud isn't pursuing Floyd. His aim is on shaping his own legacy, whether that means defending his newly won crown, moving up to middleweight, or retiring undefeated. For Crawford, a bout with Floyd isn't about making history. It's just business. And Bud has never been one to chase fame. So, let's be clear. Floyd is stirring controversy to promote a fight that benefits only him. Crawford is at the height of his powers, reigning over boxing's elite. Floyd is the retired legend searching for one last moment in the spotlight. Their near clash wasn't born from true anger. It was marketing. Floyd understands controversy grabs eyes, sparks debate, and sends clips viral, putting his name back in the news. But in reality, Crawford doesn't need Floyd. He's already surpassed him in the minds of many.
They were saying that if he beats Canelo, it could put him as even the greatest of all time. What does that put him in the all-time list, man?
At least top 10.
At least
top 10 or top 15, easily, you know? There's guys that we may not know of or heard of, like Henry Armstrong. Simultaneously, he was 3 divisions carrying all 3 weight divisions at the same time.
Which performance was better? I don't like to compare them, but Crawford or Mayweather's over Canelo. Like it's just different.
It's just different styles, different looks, you know. But the punching, the output that he was giving Canelo, definitely gave him the win.
The true battle isn't inside the ropes. It's the story unfolding. Floyd's legacy versus Crawford's. The veteran legend against the rising king. And after Crawford's triumph over Canelo Alvarez, the torch has officially changed hands. Whether Floyd accepts it or not, here's the situation. Floyd Mayweather almost faced Terence Crawford live. But the real story isn't the near clash. It's the collision of legacies beneath it all. Crawford just beat Canelo, claimed undisputed titles in 3 divisions, and is now hailed as the top pound-for-pound fighter. He's filling arenas, dominating pay-per-view, and many believe his legacy has overtaken Floyd's. Floyd, meanwhile, is envious. He craves the spotlight again. He wants the fight not to make history, but for money and relevance. Crawford, however, remains unconcerned. He's already written history. A bout with Floyd wouldn't add a single vital chapter to his story. What do you think? Should Crawford answer Floyd's calls or leave the payday behind and focus on his own path? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Fight Field.